All right, still on the forum, just concluded. I had a sit down with one of the organizers. That's the Kigali Finance Center, International Finance Center. Their marketing manager had a chat. I had a chat with her. That's Ms. Shaduri Rumongi. She's the Chief Marketing Officer of Kigali International Financial Center, to tell us what progress and how they are measuring the progress. This is the third edition of the forum, and of course they hope to continue with this forum. What can we expect, and what have they seen so far in this interview?
The Kigali International Financial Center is a convener. We have partnered with two other key stakeholders. That is the National Bank of Rwanda and our Singaporean partner, GFTN, to really convene a global gathering. We are looking at over 3,000 delegates and participants that came to Rwanda to really talk about how we can advance financial inclusion for Africa. And so our role really is to position Rwanda as a hub for financial services, not only financial services, but also fintech. And therefore, this platform, the IFF, gives us that sort of convening power where we are able to bring together regulators, policymakers, founders, investors, and the wider global tech community to really address some of these really pressing issues around financial technology.
So what strategy are you using at KIFC? What strategy do you want to use to achieve this inclusion we're talking about?
Well, the first strategy I would talk about is really partnership and collaboration. We know that the vision is big and the stakes are high. And so as KIFC, we cannot do this on our own. We therefore have to identify the right partners here on the continent as well as beyond the continent. And that's why I talked about the National Bank of Rwanda. I talked about the Global Financial and Technology Network based in Singapore. They have strengths, they have experience, they have networks. And so when we collaborate and partner, we're able to reach our vision much faster. We're able to reach a much wider community as well.
So what about, on the continent, what collaboration do you have with other countries like Nigeria and all?
Yes, with Nigeria, we actually have collaborated with the Africa FinTech Network. We've got an MOU as KIFC, and this MOU really allows us to tap into several fintechs on the continent. And interestingly, most of those fintechs are Nigerian. We also attend the Nigeria FinTech Week on a regular basis. And again, we get to network, we get to connect, we get to collaborate with those fintechs based in Nigeria and also on the wider continent as well.
And how do you measure progress, in this journey? What would you say are your KPIs, your key performance index?
Well, the first KPI, I would say, is to, first of all, successfully convene 3,000 plus delegates to come here in Rwanda, to be able to gather them together around the table, all the different voices that matter when it comes to the topic of fintech. That's the first thing. Secondly, it's around visibility. Visibility for the vision and the mandate that Rwanda has to position itself as a hub for financial services and for technology. And then it's the collaboration and the partnerships that come out of the dialogue. Over the last 3 days, there have been so many different sessions. People have talked about so many different topics. And I'll give you an example. Yesterday, the Central Bank of Rwanda and the Central Bank of Kenya signed a license passporting declaration. And what this means is that a fintech that's based in Kenya, for example, that is looking to scale, that is looking to come to Rwanda and set up in Rwanda does not have to go through the entire licensing process that they initially had to go through when they initially set up. And so such frameworks are very, very key for these small fintechs that are really looking to grow on the continent. So we find that these are some of the success stories, I would say, that have come out of hosting an event such as the Inclusive FinTech Forum.
Yeah, that's very interesting. But I mean, in about 4 years now, since you've had your eyes on this inclusiveness or financial inclusion, what has been like the biggest challenges, and what proposed solutions do you have?
Mm-hmm. I would say one of the challenges is around fragmentation. Like I mentioned before, each country, each market has its own regulation. So it's very difficult then to scale as a fintech. And one of the proposed solutions is really to have the regulators, for instance, come together at the IFF, discuss these challenges, bring the founders and the fintechs themselves that are actually facing these challenges, also hear from them, listen to what their pain points are, and then try and think together and say, okay, what can we do? How can we collaborate as countries, as a continent, to really propose a solution? And then out of that came the passporting deal that was signed yesterday. So this is something that I think is really one of the most successful outcomes that we can see, visible outcomes beyond the dialogue, beyond the networking and the connection.
And as you plan for the next forum, what can we expect? What's new? What's going to be big?
Well, we'll keep you guessing. We'll keep you interested. We can't reveal everything right away, but for sure what we can say, it will be definitely another great moment to collaborate as a continent. It will be another great moment to discuss and dialogue on really key themes. And all of this, the whole reason behind hosting such a forum is really about transformation, improving the lives of our citizens on the continent. So that's really the big vision. And so we will keep you posted.